Good morning, my friends. Happy Monday. Yay for Mondays. I love Mondays. They're a big deal. They're an opportunity. An opportunity. That's what they are. That's all. All right, April 17th. David hides in the wilderness. 1 Samuel 23, 13 through 29. So David and his men, about 600 of them now, left Keilah and began roaming the countryside. Word soon reached Saul that David had escaped, so he didn't go to Keilah after all. David now stayed in the strongholds of the wilderness in the hill country of Ziph. Saul hunted him day after day, but God didn't let Saul find him. One day near Horesh, David received the news that Saul was on the way to Ziph to search for him and kill him. Jonathan went to find David and encouraged him to stay strong in his faith in God. Don't be afraid, Jonathan reassured him. My father will never find you. You are going to be the king of Israel, and I will be next to you, as my father Saul is well aware. So the two of them renewed their solemn pact before the Lord. Then Jonathan returned home, while David stayed at Horesh. But now the men of Ziph went to Saul in Gibeah and betrayed David to him. We know where David is hiding, they said. He is in the strongholds of Horesh, on the hill of Hachilah, which is the southern part of Jeshimon. Come down whenever you are ready, O king, and we will catch him and hand him over to you. The Lord bless you, Saul said. At last, someone is concerned about me. Go and check again to be sure of where he is staying and who has seen him there, for I know he is very crafty. Discover his hiding places and come back when you are sure. Then I'll go with you, and if he is in the area at all, I'll track him down, even if I have to search every hiding place in Judah. So the men of Ziph returned home ahead of Saul. Meanwhile, David and his men had moved into the wilderness of Maon, in the Arabah valley south of Jeshimon. When David heard that Saul and his men were searching for him, he went even further in the wilderness to the great rock, and he remained there in the wilderness of Maon. But Saul kept after him in the wilderness. Saul and David were now on opposite sides of a mountain. Just as Saul and his men began to close in on David and his men, an urgent message reached Saul that the Philistines were raiding Israel again. So Saul quit chasing David and returned to fight the Philistines. Ever since that time, the place where David was camped has been called the Rock of Escape. David went to live in the strongholds of En-Gedi. Psalm 54 for the choir director, a psalm of David regarding the time the Ziphites came and said to Saul, "We know where David is hiding," to be accompanied by stringed instruments. Come with great power, O God, and rescue me. Defend me with your might. Listen to my prayer, O God. Pay attention to my plea. For strangers are... Whoops. Sorry, said I got disconnected for a minute. Listen to my prayer, O God. Pay attention to my plea. For strangers are attacking me. Violent people are trying to kill me. They care nothing for God. But God is my helper. The Lord keeps me alive. May the evil plans of my enemies be turned against them. Do as you promised and put an end to them. I will sacrifice a voluntary offering to you. I will praise your name, O Lord, for it is good. For you have rescued me from my troubles and have helped me to triumph over my enemies. David spares Saul's life. 1 Samuel 24, 1 through 22. After Saul returned from fighting the Philistines, he was told that David had gone into the wilderness of En-Gedi. So Saul chose 3,000 elite troops from all of Israel and went to search for David and his men near the Rock of the Wild Goats. At the place where the road passes some sheepfolds, Saul went into a cave to relieve himself. But as it happened, David and his men were hiding farther back in that very cave. Now's your opportunity, David's men whispered to him. Today the Lord is telling you, I will certainly put your enemy into power to do with as you wish. I will put your enemy in your power to do with as you wish. So David crept forward and cut off a piece of the hem of Saul's robe. But then David's conscience began bothering him because he had cut Saul's robe. He said to his men, "The Lord forbid that I should do this to my lord the king. I shouldn't attack the Lord's anointed one, for the Lord himself has chosen him." So David restrained his men and did not let them kill Saul. After Saul had left the cave and gone on his way, David came out and shouted after him, "My lord the king." And when Saul looked around, David bowed low before him. Then he shouted to Saul, "Why do you listen to the people who say I am trying to harm you? This very day you can see with your own eyes it isn't true. For the Lord placed you at my mercy back there in the cave. Some of my men told me to kill you, but I spared you. For I said, I will never harm the king. He is the Lord's anointed one. Look, my father, at what I have in my hand. It is a piece of the hem of your robe. I cut it off, but I didn't kill you. This proves that I am not trying to harm you and that I have not sinned against you, even though you have been hunting for me to kill me. May the Lord judge between us. Perhaps the Lord will punish you for what you are trying to do to me, but I will never harm you. As that old proverb says, from evil people come evil deeds, so you can be sure I will never harm you. Who is the king of Israel trying to catch anyway? Should he spend his time chasing one who is as worthless as a dead dog or a single flea? May the Lord therefore judge which of us is right and punish the guilty one. He is my advocate, and he will rescue me from your power. When David had finished speaking, Saul called back, "Is that really you, my son David?" Then he began to cry. And he said to David, "You are a better man than I am, for you have repaid me good for evil. Yes, you have been amazingly kind to me today, for when the Lord put me in a place where you could have killed me, you didn't do it. Who else would let his enemy get away when he held him in his power? May the Lord reward you well for the kindness you have shown me today. And now I realize that you are surely going to be king, and that the kingdom of Israel will flourish under your rule. Now swear to me by the Lord that when that happens, you will not kill my family and destroy my line of descendants." So David promised this to Saul with an oath. Then Saul went home, but David and his men went back to their stronghold. The death of Samuel, 1 Samuel 25, 1a. Now Samuel died, and all of Israel gathered for his funeral. They buried him at his house in Ramah. Nabal angers David, 1 Samuel 25, 1b through 22. Then David mowed down. Nope, he didn't mow. He doesn't have a John Deere tractor. Then David moved down to the wilderness of Maon. There was a wealthy man from Maon who owned property near the town of Carmel. Caramel. He had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and it was sheep shearing time. This man's name was Nabal, and his wife Abigail was a sensible and beautiful woman. But Nabal, a descendant of Caleb, was crude and mean in all of his dealings. When David heard that Nabal was shearing his sheep, he sent 10 of his young men to Carmel with this message for Nabal: "Peace and prosperity to you and your family and everything you own. I am told that it is sheep shearing time. While your shepherds stayed among us in Carmel, we never harmed them, and nothing was ever stolen from them. Ask your own men, and they will tell you this is true. So would you be kind to us since we have come at a time of celebration? Please share any provisions that you might have on hand with us and with your friend David." David's young men gave this message to Nabal in David's name, and they waited for a reply. "Who is this fellow David?" Nabal sneered to the young men. "Who does the son of Jesse think he is? There are lots of servants these days who run away from their masters. Should I take my bread and water and my meat that I've slaughtered for my shearers and give it to the band of outlaws who come from who knows where?" So David's young men returned and told him what Nabal had said. "Get your swords," was David's reply as he strapped on his own. Then 400 men started off with David, and 200 remained behind to guard their equipment. Meanwhile, one of Nabal's servants went to Abigail and told her, "David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, but he screamed insults at them. These men have been very good to us, and we never suffered any harm from them. Nothing was stolen from us the whole time they were with us. In fact, day and night they were like a wall of protection to us and the sheep. You need to know this and figure out what to do, for there's going to be trouble for our master and his whole family. He's so ill-tempered that no one can even talk to him." Abigail wasted no time. She quickly gathered 200 loaves of bread, 2 wineskins full of wine, 5 sheep that had been slaughtered, nearly a bushel of roasted grain, 100 clusters of raisins, and 200 fig cakes. She packed them on donkeys and said to her servants, "Go on ahead. I will follow you shortly." But she didn't tell her husband Nabal what she was doing. As she was riding her donkey into a mountain ravine, she saw David and his men coming toward her. David had just been saying, "A lot of good it did to help this fellow. We protected his flocks in the wilderness, and nothing he owned was lost or stolen, but he had repaid me evil for good. May God strike me and kill me if even one man of his household is still alive tomorrow morning. Abigail intercedes for Nabal, 1 Samuel 25:23-38. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey, and she bowed low before him. She fell at his feet and said, I accept all the blame in this matter, my lord. Please listen to what I have to say. I know Nabal is a wicked and ill-tempered man. Please don't pay attention to him. He is a fool, just as his name suggests. But I never saw the young men you sent. Now, my lord, as surely as the Lord lives, and you yourself live, since the Lord has kept you from murdering and taking vengeance into your own hands, let all of your enemies and those who try to harm you be as cursed as Nabal is. And here is a present that I, your servant, have brought to you and your young men. Please forgive me if I have offended you in any way. The Lord will surely reward you with a lasting dynasty, for you are fighting the Lord's battles, and you have not done wrong throughout your entire life. Even when you are chased by those who seek to kill you, your life is safe in the care of the Lord our God, Lord your God, secure in his treasure pouch. But the lives of your enemies will disappear like stones shot from a sling. When the Lord has done all he promised and has made you the leader of Israel, don't let this be a blemish on your record. Then your conscience won't have to bear the staggering burden of needless bloodshed and vengeance. And when the Lord has done these great things for you, please remember me, your servant. Sorry, I don't know if I got disconnected or what. My computer just went to sleep. It's never done that while I'm live. Hopefully I stayed connected there and didn't lose you. That was weird. Yeah, I don't know. The text came delayed this morning as I sent it, but it hung there for a while. I don't know why. All right. David replied to Abigail, Praise the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you to meet me today. Thank God for your good sense. Bless you and keep me from murdering. Bless you for keeping me from murder and from carrying out vengeance with my own hands. For I swear by the Lord, the God of Israel, who has kept me from hurting you, that if you had not hurried out to meet me, not one of Nabal's men would still be alive tomorrow morning. Then David accepted her present and told her, Return home in peace. I have heard what you said. We will not kill your husband. When Abigail arrived home, she found that Nabal was throwing a big party and was celebrating like a king. He was very drunk, so she didn't tell him anything about her meeting with David until dawn the next day. In the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him what had happened. As a result, he had a stroke and lay paralyzed on his bed like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck him, and he died. David marries Abigail, 1 Samuel 25:39-44. When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Praise the Lord, who has avenged the insult I received from Nabal and has kept me from doing it myself. Nabal has received the punishment for his sin. Then David sent messengers to ask Abigail to become his wife. When the messengers arrived at Carmel, they told Abigail, David has sent us to take you back to marry him. She bowed low to the ground and responded, I, your servant, would be happy to marry David. I would even be willing to become a slave, washing the feet of his servants. Quickly getting ready, she took along 5 of her servant girls as attendants, mounted her donkey, and went with David's messengers, and so she became his wife. David also married Ahinoam from Jezreel, making both of them his wives. Saul, meanwhile, had given his daughter Michal to David's wife. Not to David's wife. Saul, meanwhile, had given his daughter Michal, David's wife, to a man from Galim named Palti, son of Laish. Yes, I see a bunch of you just joined. I hit send on the text, and it just took a while. Some mornings, the website just it said it sent, but then it takes a while to go through. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why. All right. April 17th, we are in Unshakable. We are on day 105 of the devotional. I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying this devotional. I hope I can find another one for next year. I got to start looking already. It's getting late in the year here. All right, April 17th. Equipped to share. Luke 8:39 says, "Return home and tell how much God has done for you." So the man went away and told all over the town how much Jesus had done for him. Since Jesus' day, he has entrusted us with the good news. We are uniquely gifted to boldly and freely share the gospel of Jesus. And we all know once you have met Jesus, once you have experienced his love or forgiveness, you can't keep his good news to yourself. As you go about your day, remember these truths and share them to encourage others. Jesus banishes fear from our hearts, 1 John 4:18. His love is stronger than death, Romans 6:9. Jesus meets our needs, Philippians 4:19. He restores hope, Romans 5:5. Jesus heals diseases, Matthew 8:17. He blesses us with peace in the biggest of life's storms, John 14:27. Jesus forgives sin and redeems failures, Romans 8:28. Jesus has entrusted you and me with the knowledge of these amazing truths, and he has called us to share them with our world. Let's go and tell. It's a privilege to be entrusted and called. It's a privilege, Jesus, to be entrusted and called. Show me the people who need to hear your good news today. All right. Let's see, go back and read the messages. That's so true, Vicky. Monday is a very good indicator of the week, and it is why I choose to be very intentional about my joy on Mondays, to look at Monday as an opportunity. I'm in a different position now, being self-employed. Every day feels like Saturday. Like I can do things on my own time and my own schedule, and it's not like I'm having a weekend and then going to work on Monday morning at a job I'm struggling to enjoy and any of that. But when I was working in another job, I had to be very intentional on my Monday mornings. I had to choose joy, whether I felt it deep down or not. I could not have a case of the Mondays because that led to a struggle for the week. So I tried to be joyful despite any feeling that I was feeling. And when you are intentionally joyful, real joy bubbles up every time. Every time. Every time. Yeah, Mallory, the text was slow this morning. Oh, good, Susan. I'm glad you're feeling better. That's so good. I'm glad. All right, my friends. Let's go ahead and end our morning together in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for the opportunity to come and share here this morning, share the word, and to read the devotional from Christine. I pray that it is a blessing to others the way it is a blessing to me, Father. I pray that you will go before us today as we face our Mondays, as we go about our jobs or back to school, or maybe we're on spring break, depending. I pray that you will give us all a day filled with joy, intentional joy and joy, deep joy that only comes from you. Father, I pray that you will help us to latch on to that joy and let it bubble up to the top and not suppress it with a case of the Mondays. I pray, Father, that you will help us to keep our eyes and hearts focused on you, keep our words honoring to you in everything that we say today, and may we be a blessing to someone we encounter today. In your precious name I pray. Amen. Okay, sweet friends. Hold on just a moment. Let me check something. I have to go to FedEx this morning. I think I'm going to slap together breakfast live really, really quick, and I'll have breakfast on the road this morning because I have to go to FedEx to overnight ship some keys that I drove all the way to Maine that were supposed to go to Tennessee for a rental car. So they have to get back there tomorrow. So I have to go to FedEx this morning. So, but I'm going to go ahead and make some breakfast. I think maybe I'll make a shake this morning that I can eat on the road. Okay. I love you all. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you in just a few minutes for breakfast. Bye, guys.